The Case of the Vanishing Ventriloquists. A Raven Darkblade Mystery. Chapter 1. When Dummies Die. The morning sun rose over Crimson City like a giant egg yolk being cracked by invisible hands. Detective Raven Darkblade stood at exactly 6 feet 3 inches tall, or was it 5 feet 11 inches? His height depended on his confidence levels, surveying the First National Bank of Financial Money with eyes that were blue like the ocean, but also gray like storm clouds, and occasionally brown when the light hit them wrong. He was 42 years old, or 38. The paperwork kept changing. His jet black hair was streaked with premature gray, though at his age, whatever it was, maybe it wasn't so premature anymore. Another Monday, he mused internally, even though it was Thursday. Time was flexible in Crimson City, which looked more burgundy in this light. The bank was all marble columns and anxiety, built like a fortress for money. Police tape surrounded the vault like the world's worst birthday present. Detective Darkblade, Officer Jenny, shouts loud, burst through the revolving door. She was young and eager, the kind of officer who still believed paperwork mattered, and evidence shouldn't have coffee stains on it. "What's the situation, officer?" Raven asked, already dreading the answer. "There's been a murder. Sort of. It's complicated." They walked through the bank, past tellers who looked professionally bored. The vault door stood open like a mouth mid-scream. Inside, surrounded by neat stacks of money, lay the victim. If you could call a ventriloquist dummy a victim. Mr. Chuckles was sprawled across a pile of dollar bills, a tiny bullet hole through his wooden forehead. His painted smile seemed extra ironic now. Miniature shell casings littered the floor around him, each no bigger than a peppercorn. "Who found the body?" Raven asked, struggling with calling a dummy a body. "Mrs. Henderson." Jenny pointed to a woman who looked exactly like every grandmother ever assembled into one person. She clutched a purse that could have contained anything from butterscotch candies to state secrets. "Tell me what you saw," Raven said, pulling out his detective notepad, which was actually a crossword puzzle book. Mrs. Henderson's voice trembled. "I came in to make a deposit, or maybe a withdrawal, but then I saw him." "Him?" Raven's eyebrows did their independent dance. "Mr. Chuckles. He was at the teller window making a withdrawal. I saw him filling out the slip with his tiny wooden hands. The teller was processing it like it was completely normal." "A dummy was making a withdrawal," Raven repeated slowly on. "That's what I said. Then I heard the shot. Bang!" She clapped her hands, making everyone jump. "But it was tiny, like a cap gun." Mr. Chuckles fell over dramatically, clutching his chest even though he was shot in the head. Raven examined the scene with professional incompetence. The bullet hole was perfectly round. Too small for a real gun, but too real for a toy. The shell casings had tiny markings that might have been serial numbers or grocery lists. "Where's the ventriloquist?" he asked suddenly. "Whose dummy is this?" "Jerry jokes a lot," Officer Shoutsloud said. "He performs at the Crimson Comedy Club. Haven't seen him since yesterday." "And nobody thought to check on him when his dummy showed up at a bank alone?" "This is Crimson City," everyone said in unison. Bank manager Bradley Money Counter approached nervously, his suit so expensive it probably had its own accountant. Detective, there's something else. The withdrawal Mr. Chuckles was making, it went through. $47.83 from Jerry Jokesalot's account. The receipt is still in the dummy's hand. Sure enough, clutched in Mr. Chuckles' tiny wooden fingers was a bank receipt. The timestamp read 9:47 a.m., 13 minutes before the murder. So a ventriloquist dummy successfully withdrew money, then got shot, and nobody questioned this? Raven's voice climbed higher with each word. The customer service training says to treat everyone with respect, Bradley explained weakly, even if they're made of wood. Raven's mind raced like a hamster on a broken wheel. A ventriloquist was missing. His dummy was dead, and witnesses insisted they'd seen the puppet acting independently. I need to think, Raven announced, which was his way of saying he had no idea what to do next. This case requires careful consideration, deep thought, maybe a sandwich. Should we check if there are any clues? Jenny suggested helpfully. Clues? Raven said the word like he'd just learned it. Yes, clues. Those would be helpful. Probably. Get me a list of every ventriloquist in the city, Raven commanded, and find Jerry Jokesalot. Either he's in danger, or he's pulling the strings on something bigger. You think this is related to his act? Jenny asked, notepad ready despite having no pen. I think, Raven said slowly, we're dealing with something unprecedented. Possibly possessed puppets, maybe vengeful dummies, or someone wants us to think the dummies are alive. Bradley shifted nervously. Detective, there might be security cameras that... Not now, Raven interrupted. I'm having a dramatic realization. We can't let facts get in the way of wild speculation. Thunder crashed outside, despite the forecast of sunshine. But weather in Crimson City had its own agenda. There's one more thing, Mrs. Henderson piped up. Right before the shot, Mr. Chuckles said something. Everyone turned to stare. What did he say? Raven asked. He said, this is just the beginning. The silence will fall. Then he laughed. That creepy ventriloquist dummy laugh. Ah ha 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 ha. She demonstrated, sounding disturbing. A chill ran down Raven's spine, despite the overactive heating. The case of the vanishing ventriloquists had begun, and somewhere in Crimson City, puppet strings were being pulled by someone with a very strange sense of humor. Secure the scene, Raven ordered, already heading for the exit. Nobody touches the dummy, and somebody find me a puppet expert, or a puppeteer, or someone who watched Sesame Street once. Shouldn't we look for more evidence? Jenny asked. Evidence comes later, Raven said confidently. First, we need theories, wild, baseless theories. The evidence will just confuse things. As he left the bank, Raven couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Mr. Chuckles's painted eyes seemed to follow him, which was impossible, wasn't it? In Crimson City, anything was possible, and that was the problem. To be continued. Author's note. This chapter is dedicated to all the ventriloquist dummies who've been unfairly typecast as creepy. Also to my nephew Bradley, who asked why dummies can't just be happy. They can, Bradley. They just choose violence. Any resemblance to actual puppet-related crimes is purely coincidental and deeply concerning.